Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. This is the Student Services Committee meeting for the School District of Waukesha. Has the meeting been properly posted?
Yes.
Excellent. Very good. So our first item of general business tonight, second is opportunity for public comment. We do have one speaker tonight because there are 6 or less speakers. Speakers will be notified at 3 minutes, but will be allowed up to 5 minutes to complete their comments. We expect all speakers to honor our time limit, refrain from using any inappropriate language, be respectful in their comments. Speakers who do not meet these expectations may be prohibited from speaking at future board or committee meetings. Speakers are here to address the board, not the audience. The school board and the board, this committee, does not endorse any comments made by the members of the community here tonight. We'd like to remind our community members of the impact of their words on others and that our children are watching. We commit to the communicating with you in respectful and productive ways and ask that you do the same. We also expect that the audience will be respectful of the speaker and of the board and refrain from responding with any verbal comments, cheering, applause, or other behavior that will detract from the meeting. And please note that no obstructions can be created between the board and the audience. Visual aids cannot be used, and the area behind the speaker and the podium must be clear during public comment. And then in order to respect our speakers and meeting participants, please silence your cell phones. So our first speaker is Mr. Zachary Scott.
Thank you. My name is Zachary Scott, and I live at 1128 Dana Lane in River Hills subdivision. My wife and I purchased our home in 2015 and have poured our heart and soul into making it the place we have always dreamed of raising our family. Since then, we've welcomed our daughter, who's now thriving as a third-grade student at Rose Glen Elementary, where she has been school choice since kindergarten. When we chose this home in this community, we did so knowing that she would eventually attend Les Paul Middle School alongside all her friends from Rose Glen, and later transition with them to Waukesha West. We were excited, optimistic, and grateful to be part of such a strong school community. The family, staff, and environment at Rose Glen have been a blessing to our daughter's growth and happiness. However, with the optimizing our future plan and the proposed redistricting still without a finalized decision, all current scenarios show her being separated from every close friend she has formed deep bonds with. This is already difficult enough, but we are also informed that she must now reapply through school choice just to remain at Rose Glen for her final 2 years, despite having attended since kindergarten. These changes have pushed us to a place we never imagined a year ago. We're actively consulting a realtor and seriously considered moving out of the district altogether. I don't believe any parent would argue that consolidating 3 middle schools down to 2, both operating near full capacity, is in the best long-term interest of students. Combined with the city's high taxes, rising water rates, garbage fees, and dump fees, we're questioning whether Waukesha is still a community we believed it to be. While I recognize that some families here are facing even more difficult circumstances, I want you to hear directly from a resident who truly wants to remain in Waukesha, but only if staying means providing our daughter with a stable, high-quality educational path. Adding to our concern is the ongoing discussion of potentially consolidating high schools and/or middle schools again within the next 5 years. How can families make informed, long-term decisions for their children when the future of the district feels so uncertain? All we are asking is that our daughter be allowed to continue at Rose Glen for her remaining 2 years, and that the redistricting lines allow her to remain with the peers she has grown up with through both middle school and high school. The relationships, continuity, and stability she has built should matter. They matter deeply to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. So we are moving into our action items this evening. First is the approval of the minutes from the Student Services Committee from November 4th, 2025.
I move approval of the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right. Motion by Mr. Brooks and seconded by Ms. Koenig. Is there any discussion, questions? All right. So all in favor of the approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay.
I don't think the link is up live.
So there was a question about potential broadcast of the committee. So just to confirm that motion did pass 5-0. So the second action item tonight is the discussion and possible action regarding revisions to policy 9151. So Mr. Pat, I will hand it off to you.
Thank you, Mr. Harland. I'll put this up on the screen. Okay. You also have a copy of it as well digitally. So this policy is pretty simplistic. The change was just really, in addition to the policy, a couple of minor corrections from the Board of Education to the board, striking out the following and then putting this, and then really you see the green three sentences in what I guess I would call paragraph-ish 3 that really talks about media, and that it strictly talks about media not being allowed in our locker rooms or having access to those locker rooms, and gives coaches and student athletes guidance to it can happen outside of the locker room. That's not something that was in the policy previously, and that is the additions to the policy along with the updated date on the back in green of 2025.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions, comments on the potential revisions to the policy? Okay. I think it's a very appropriate update and appreciate the focus on that. So if there are no questions, guess I would look for a motion to approve the revisions.
I motion to approve the revisions as presented to policy number 9151.
Second.
All right, motion by Ms. Koenig and seconded by Mrs. Gren. Any other discussion? All right, so we will, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes 5-0. Into our third item, discussion and possible action on in revisions to policy 5310.01. Mr. Pat, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Harland. This is a complete replacement of the emergency nursing services policy. It really kind of breaks things out a little more clearly, adds a little bit better comprehensive language, specifically in letter A. Underneath the first paragraph, it uses the term "a registered nurse has developed and reviewed all relevant policies." So this gives us freedom. All of our district nurses are registered nurses, and just a reminder to all that our health room assistants are who are in our schools, and they are not school nurses. They are health room assistants within our schools. They do a fantastic job, but our school nurses are all registered nurses, the 3 of them, and then those health room assistants work underneath the license of those registered nurses because they provide all of the training for those health room assistants. So by having registered nurse there, it gives us freedom and flexibility if we had somebody as an outside consultant, if we needed different individuals who come in or come out versus saying a school nurse. It gives us a little more latitude when you have individuals providing guidance on policies in the future. So that was a highlight for that, and everything else is broken out and I would say a little more in order and clear. So what questions can I answer for you regarding this replacement policy?
Go ahead.
So Mr. Pat, can you just clarify, so on an annual basis, we have a separate policy where the RNs come and present to us that we're in compliance with all of the things. Does this supplement that and tie into that?
Yes, this ties into that. So when it talks about our emergency services plan, let me find it here. So on letter F, the nurse shall review and evaluate the district's emergency nursing services each year,
Yeah.
including a review of the policies referenced above, and shall report it to the board regarding such services. So we report that to you in the health the health room update talks about students as they service, or I did it this year and did the nursing report that they gather every year for data on our district.
Okay, so the policies that are listed under sub A,
Yes.
I think normally we list the policies that it references at the bottom of the overall policy. Is that fair? Versus
It
verbiage.
is fair.
So your request is to move the policies listed in the second paragraph of A to a reference section on the bottom, is
On the
that?
bottom. I mean, that's normally where we see them, and that's the first place that I go, just to make sure what other policies are cross-referenced. So from that standpoint, I would motion to approve the revisions to policy 5310.01, emergency nursing services and plan, with the amendment that the policies listed under sub A are actually cited at the bottom of the policy, consistent with our normal presentation.
Would you have them in both areas, or would you have me take them out of sub A and just have them at the bottom?
I would take them out and put them at the
Okay,
bottom.
so I would leave the language that is in sub A and then take the policies out. as
Yes.
reference to that. Okay.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion by Ms. Kozlowski and seconded by Mr. Brooks. Is there any other questions or discussion on the motion? All right, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes 5-0. And our discussion and information item for this evening is enrollment and school choice information. Mr. Pat, once again, back to you.
Thank you. So just wanted to provide information on where we are after optimizing the future and some of the enrollment dates, which I have shared. I want to share them again for all of you and share them publicly once again. And I also want to just provide a statement for kind of where we are at in our process. So the school district of Waukesha is moving forward with the revised school footprint for the 26-27 school year. It includes the closure of our 2 elementary schools, Hawthorne and Bethesda, 1 middle school, Horning, as well as the creation of new attendance area boundaries for all remaining elementary and middle schools. Because these new boundaries represent a district-wide reset of school assignments, all previously approved school choice placements at the elementary and middle school levels will no longer carry forward automatically. Note that this does not apply to current elementary school students who are part of our district's dual language program. So none of those students in our dual language program, they all have places in dual, and we've reset there are new schools and new boundary lines, and so we'll be communicating directly with those elementary dual families on their school's placement, and so that does not apply for them to have to apply for school choice. We are, any family who was granted school choice at any time in the past at the elementary or middle school level will be required to reapply for school choice for 26-27. This ensures that placements are made fairly and consistently based on the updated attendance areas and the capacity of each school. We understand that this may require additional planning for families, and we are committed to making the process as clear and supportive as possible. We're reviewing the newly established attendance boundaries to determine which students will qualify for district transportation for 26-27. Our team's working carefully to ensure all eligibility decisions align with state requirements and district policy, and then families will receive communication about their attendance area schools and busing eligibility in the coming weeks prior to the school choice deadline, so they will have that information to be able to make the best decisions possible for that. This next 2 slides are the dates. So we have our charter schools within our district and our inter-district transfer window. So school choice, we moved everything back, as I said at our previous student services meeting, to January. Normally it's a December 1 through January 1-ish timeframe. And so everything with optimizing has been moved back. So January 5th is a date for many of these applications, but you can see there specifically for charter schools, K-8 STEM, our academies at Waukesha South and Montessori. Those are January 5th through the 30th. All that information will be updated and ready at our enrollment website and our school's website, school district's website. And then you can see January 5th through the 30th in very big bold letters is that school choice component where the information for all students to reapply for school choice is important to have that information. There is no time frame to that, so you have that entire window to apply. If you apply with 1 second into the window as it opens, it doesn't matter when you apply. You have that entire window to apply, and we will go through the process after that to select our school choice applicants. And then the final slide is our open house and enrollment dates. So our middle and high schools, all those dates are there. Our dual language program, for anybody interested, those dates and times are on the final slide, and you can see those very clearly. December 11th is coming up for our first dual language night here at Blair to learn more about that program, and you can go down and take a look at the list of dates for 4K enrollment. Once again, school choice and intra-district transfer are synonymous with each other. They are the same. Open enrollment is a window that is set by the state of Wisconsin. You can see that's much longer, and that's for anyone who comes from outside of our district into our school district. So that window is what is established by someone else. So what questions can I answer for you based on this information?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Pat. Will enrollment, open enrollment priority be given to students that were in an elementary school and through redistricting, their neighborhood was reassigned? Will priority be given to those families over students that would just want a choice for different reasons? I mean, will they have more weight because they have been a member of that school community and then redistricted? Will they have priority?
So if a student was school choice to a school previously, and they have to reapply for that school, so they were a student there, and somebody was districted out of that school based on the new boundaries, they were both students at that school, and they were granted an opportunity to go there. So they carried the same weight because they were both students at that school and are asked to apply for school choice again. So that's how it will go. If anyone applies for school choice for the first time, that would be new, and they would be considered second to those other students who already had priority, who already were there. So that is something that we will be looking at. Our goal is to accommodate that to the best of our ability, where we understand the dynamic. We want to get students back to the school that they've been to. The reality is that we have new boundaries, and we've closed schools, and I can't guarantee those spots for all students. But we will do what we can to work within our buildings to get students what they would prefer. In any given year, school choice is not a guarantee off of a variety of factors. So once the applications come in, we will sit down with the principals and go through that process. There's a bunch of factors where students may be denied, and there are obviously room is one of them, especially at specific grade levels. So what we do in that case is we would have a waiting list for individuals if they were looking to do that, if somebody decided not to take that spot. So it's a lottery component that we might have to end up doing, like we already do if there is a lot of school choice, which is why there could be a lottery for individuals to have that priority first and then go from there. Obviously, we'd like to say that school choice will work for everyone and we can get them where they want to be. Another thing is individuals might be fine with their new placement in the new boundary school, and maybe they were school choice before, but we'll go through that process. And there are multiple schools you can choose for choice. You can have your primary school. You also can have, obviously, other schools that may have room if, as another option.
Okay, so just to be clear, it'll prioritize based on students that are now assigned, due to the new enrollment, they're assigned, and then students that were had choice before, and then any other students, coming from outside the district trying to choice in, they would be on a second or third tier, if they're just requesting a school for the first time because they want a choice to that school. There would be students that were there ahead of them would have an opportunity to receive a seat before someone that just would like to simply choice in, that had no connection to the school previously.
As far as intra-district transfer, yes. Open enrollment is different. Those are individuals that are coming from outside. They also have a spot in our schools, and we have provided that spot for them. So that's something that we'll also work through. New open enrollment, that's something we'll also work through. But for interdistrict transfer, yes, priority will go to individuals who were at those schools already as students. And then anybody who is new would be second priority per se if there is room left. And again, we'll lottery those individuals as we need to based on those categories.
Okay, thank you.
Can you, I guess, speak to the impact or how siblings would factor into priority if a sibling had been attending there and it works out that that older one is now moved on to a middle school, but the plan was obviously to continue with that. Is there any prioritization with siblings?
Yes, there is. So if we have individuals whose school choice, we look at families and understand if they're at the same school. We already have one sibling who is there. We would want both siblings to be able to go to that school and have parents drive them to that school. We have had situations in the past where that hasn't been possible, just based on the sheer numbers and different aspects. So, but that is a priority that is also given when it comes to placement at schools.
And then you had, I was looking back at the comment about, so dual language, they're in a district for each of the new dual language schools. Do they have the ability to choice into another location? Is that part of this, or how does that play into the process?
So yeah, so once they receive their attendance area school for dual language, then they have the opportunity to say, okay, I would prefer to go to this school. So it's a similar process, but they will all get their assignment and a guaranteed spot in our dual language program. And then if they choose to move after that, they fall underneath the same rules where transportation is not provided and there has to be room in the program. So, but they don't have to go through that process because that's a separate process based on program availability.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's, this conversation is obviously, I think, a stressor for our community right now. I think a lot of the emails that we're getting right now are parents trying to navigate where the maps or a version of the map that they've seen and what that is going to be taking a look at. And so do we know when we're going to have maps? I know we're presenting that at the board meeting next week, but I look at like the dual language parent night is that's Monday. Mm-hmm. Are we going to have maps as to how that looks?
I can speak to some of the planning that we've done around that. As far as the dual language parent nights, there's one next week and also one in January, and we are welcoming families to attend if they're interested in learning more. If they are interested and don't attend one of those, we'll still meet with them to make sure that they have all the information regarding the program, and we want to work with families around that. Once we are coming forward with the maps this month in December, and so while the enrollment window is open for the whole month of January, we'll work with families if they weren't at a parent meeting for the dual language or can't make the one that's scheduled there. But the maps would be in December.
No, and I think that's fair because I think the intent of the dual language parent meeting is just overall interest, right? So this is beyond the scope of who is currently in the program, what schools they're going to. This is encouraging the growth and the marketing of the program in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's for new families, 4K kindergarten families who are curious about learning more about it. In the past, there was a strong, this is recommended. It still is recommended, but we're going to take a partnership approach, and we really want to partner with families to say, if you can't make this date, that's okay. You can enroll. Let's still sit down so that they know everything about the dual language program. But they may say, you know what, I already had a different student who went through it, and maybe not need it. So we want to meet the needs of our families, and if they're not able to make it, we'll make accommodations to meet with them, but we do have 2 dates. And we've done that previously of having multiple dates and just working with the families.
Good. And I want to get back to, I think, where Mrs. Koenig was going, and even in the rear. I think I talk a lot about how my brain works in a flow chart, and I think our community parents are about at that point now where it may be helpful to have a decision tree on how school choice inter-district is going to work. Because you're going to start with a point that we've redistricted. So is my child districted into said school? No. Was my child already there? Yes. Do they get priority? Yes. If not, no. Out. And just, I think it just helps people understand the flow of that. And I think that is really important to say, here's what the new district looks like. This is where you're going to go. If you're now redistricted, but you were already there, here's how the school choice priority ranking is going to go. And then it kind of wade through that so that they can understand that. I mean, the open enrollment, totally separate subject. I wouldn't even put that in there. I think our families right now are more concerned about the movement within our district. And I think a simple decision tree is really helpful to say, help me walk through this. And so I understand where and when the decisions work. And I think just in general, I want to know that. So if my kid was already there, now they're out, but I'm going to be choiced, my odds are better because we're giving you favoritism. And a lot of parents are asking about grandfathering, or they are. And I think calling that out for them is going to be really helpful. If there's something that we can do, just to have that as a guide and share out for them, I think will make the questions a lot easier, because I was trying to navigate kind of the direction that we were going in. But again, that's, my brain just works in a decision tree, and I think that's what I'm hearing from our community, is that'll be very helpful. And that took a very long time to get out.
And I guess I just want to be very clear that priority, our schools are fuller with obviously optimizing. So I don't want to give anyone a false sense that being grandfathered in means that you are guaranteed a spot in school choice.
Understood.
So I want to be very, very clear on that. Absolutely, I appreciate that, and we will continue to communicate and take that into consideration as we move forward with our communication.
Well, and I think that's the decision point too. Is there capacity for said student? Yes. Decision tree, no. And giving, I think it would be helpful.
And I wouldn't be able to say if there's capacity or not for that moment when they do school choice. But we would be able to do something to that effect where they would have a home school that is their new attendance area boundary, and then are you provided transportation or not based on your school, and then if not, then school choice, where would you prefer to go?
Understood. But I think the framework gives transparency for them to the best we can at that point, knowing what you just said.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the more that we can make this as, one-stop shop, user-friendly as possible is helpful, just because there's going to be so many families that this is the first time they've ever had to think about navigating the world of intra-district transfer school choice. And so I think the easier that we can make that process, the simpler it'll be for families to kind of figure that out, because it is new for folks who've never had to think about it before.
All right. Any other comments, questions? And just to confirm, there is no change in, they don't have to provide any specific reason as to why they're choosing or providing a specific school to choice to, correct? We're still not, there's no limitations on that for intra-district?
We'll take a look at the form and our process. So it's been the same the past few years, and they do have to provide a reason for the transfer request or the intra-district transfer request. We're looking at, as Mr. Brooks said, a simplistic process, right? That maybe will be a little bit different. So we'll see. We're having discussions on that. But in general, you do provide a rationale or a reason to why you're looking to do an intra-district transfer. We'll see what that looks like, so, in this situation. And then just want to remind everyone that this information is on our school district's website currently when it comes to these dates on our main page, and obviously we'll continue to provide information and communication there and to our families moving forward.
Very good. All right. Any other questions on that topic? Ms. Grant?
I just have a real quick question. Are the applications currently available for families to take a look at those and the information that they need?
They're not, because January 5th would be the window for that. So everything will be updated as of January 5th to go through that process.
Okay.
And again, that window, I just want to stress to families, it's not a first come, first serve for getting that in. You have that entire 25-day window to get your application in to check out the process and go through it. It just opens on January 5th. And we'll provide communication clearly on that window and that date. And because obviously, as we're here talking, we know our families are looking at that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so that does wrap up all of our action and discussion items for tonight. Are there any recommendations for future meetings? Okay. Seeing none, then we will adjourn, and our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 6th, 2026, here in the boardroom. Thank you and have a good night.